Hi everyone and welcome back. So this is the final plan I have created. This is how we are going to integrate it with the UI. So there is a React UI which will trigger the action, and we can have a intermediate service which is going to talk to Camunda engine. It is going to hit the post APIs by sending all the variables, or I mean there can be a different kind of APIs you can execute for starting a process, for completing a particular user activity task. All these things can be triggered through this API service. Okay, you can directly start a process, or you can start a process with populating some variables that we will see. And then there is a topic listener, or you can say task listener, service task listener, which will execute these independent tasks. Let's say we are executing these three tasks. Okay, so these independent tasks will be handed over to a single microservice. You have a three different endpoints. Okay, three different endpoints to create a user, send email, and task done. Okay, so we will get the final state in the database, and we are reading it through the APIs, and we will be able to show the data on the UI. We are going to use a Camunda modeler for deploying the new diagrams, and Camunda client library to listen to to poll this Camunda, to keep polling the Camunda for listening to all the topics. Okay, so what we are going to do here is, this is a particular BPMN. Let's say how we can execute it through the APIs. This is the create user. So executing it through the APIs is simple. What you can do is, this is the Camunda host, the engine rest, and this is the process definition key and your Camunda workflow name and the start. Okay, and here you can actually pass the variables. So this is a variable object. Here you can pass the variable first name of type string, and value of first name is this, email of type string, and value of the email is like this. And when you click onto this, we already have created a simple listener. We are going to create this workflow example where we are going to have API service, listener service, React UI, and workflow service. But for now, to keep it little simple, we already have this worker, which is a listener, which is using Camunda external task client. And if I just click send, it will start this process. And we already have a worker running to listen to all these topics. You can see this is working fast, and we are actually starting this process, and our topics is getting executed, and we already are subscribing, our client is subscribing to that topic, so we can see the data coming. So these are the three tasks, right? So all the three tasks are completing. Now instead of this simple worker, we can have a simple client which can maintain all these topics in somewhere in the database, keeps polling it n number of times, like keeps polling it uh, in the iterative fashion, because that's the feature of this client library. I'm not running any server here. This client keeps calling the Camunda engine. We just need to provide this config. Okay, this can be independent service. Now here, let's say we are doing nothing. We are subscribing to this particular topic name. We are doing nothing. We are completing this task. But this particular code can be a totally asynchronous, where you may be talking to a third-party service. You might be dealing to the database. You might be writing a file to the file server, S3 bucket, or something else, right? So this can be purely asynchronous. And for handling these kind of things, we can create a simple microservice which is going to do this listening task. Here you can subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe, all topics, all these things you can do. Okay, that we are going to write in the listener service. And to call or to start this workflow, we can have a simple workflow service which is going to handle the execution or starting a particular workflow. Okay, that we have mentioned in the diagram. This is the workflow service. Okay, that is going to talk to Camunda. Here we are doing it through the postman, executing the Camunda, and there is a listener worker we are already running. So that worker is listening to all the topics. Currently worker is doing nothing, but worker can talk to the microservice, update the state, so that the UI can see the updated data from the database. Okay, this is the final objective, but this is, you can say, the first phase of doing it. First we understand all these concepts, then it is easy to write these services, because this API service is going to a simple HTTP executor. Whenever you receive the action, send this action to the Camunda. This topic listener is going to subscribe to all the topics. It is going to have a mechanism to subscribe, unsubscribe. You can add new topic, delete new topic, all these things. And then each and every topic will have mapping with the endpoints, HTTP endpoints. They can belongs to any particular microservice. So this is how we are doing it. So this is how we are executing this workflow process. Currently it's not it's a simple workflow process, doing nothing, executing it. You can also do few things, like you can add a user task. This user task you can use to debug things, like what is the current state of your workflow. Let's rid of these, because there might be a case where you are returning some data from these particular service tasks and you wanted to see what is the data. So this can be a debug point for your workflow to just track what all data you have received, and then you manually complete it. Sometimes putting the user task is helping us to debug things, because here you can track all the process variable available till here, and then you manually complete it and your task then will execute. Okay, so that's it about it. Now we might need to write these services. One is a UI, one is a listener service, API service, workflow service, and we will plug all these building blocks together, which will help us to build the microservices with the Camunda Workflow Engine as an event bus. Okay, thanks everyone.